I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and part 2 of the HTC One V review starts right now. Part 2 of the HTC One V full video review, but before we get too far into it, gotta give some love to the boys at Best Buy Mobile because they hook us up with phones like this, and like the Galaxy S3 and the One X and the Evo 4G LTE for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working. They'll help you set up your email, your web, your contacts, your settings, and all that stuff. So when you walk out the door, you're good to go with your new device. So this is the One V, and if you missed part 1, well, first of all, you should go back and watch part 1. But if you missed it, it's available now at US Cellular for $129.99. And spec-wise, this one comes in just a little bit below the One X and the One S in the processor department, the display department, the camera department. It's intended to be more of a budget, but still feature-rich and still nicely designed smartphone. So Android 4.0, Sense 4 pre-installed on this device as well. Jump right into the camera. 5-megapixel camera here that's able to shoot 720p HD video. So not quite up to par with the 1080p that's found on the One X, the One S, the Evo 4G LTE, the Galaxy S3, all these hot devices that are out of the market right now, but still 5 megapixels should be more than enough for regular shooting. That said, it does have HTC's image sense, so you can do cool things like this. Do the burst mode, snap as many pictures as you want to, round, and then when you let go, of course it shows you all the pictures and you can go from there and find the best one and move from there. Also, actually yeah, we'll save that and delete the rest. Also, you have the ability, while shooting video in 720p, you can take still shots while you're recording, so you've got those stored as well. So if you're at a soccer game, a football game, whatever, you're recording it, your awesome play's happening just like you thought it was, and then all of a sudden something crazy happens because it's Friday the 13th. You can take a still picture while recording video. All those features and more. And the camera. Let's take a look at speed test, or actually quadrant standard here as well. Make sure I have it installed. There we go, that's better. Loading up quadrant standard now. And I'll talk a little bit about the call quality. Also, earpiece has been nice and loud. Of course, it's roaming right now. Like I said in part 1, I'm not in the native US Cellular coverage area. So I am roaming on Sprint right now. Sprint's data speeds are atrocious on 3G. Words can't describe how frustrating that is. And you've seen it. If you watched part 1, you saw it when I was trying to load up a page in the web browser. Otherwise, call quality's been pretty decent. No problems there on the Sprint network. Can't really speak to US Cellular's actual data speeds or their call quality on their native network, unfortunately, because I'm not in the US Cellular coverage area. So I can't speak to those. But worked really well. Earpiece was nice and loud. Speakerphone is relatively loud. It's going to be a decent voice phone for you. The 1500 milliamp hour battery does make it through the day for me with moderate use. When I got into heavy use, I found that I had to charge it around 8, 9 o'clock at night just to kind of get that added kick to make it through the day. But otherwise, relatively decent. So quadrant standard's loading right now, and it's taking a little bit of time. Again, a 1 gigahertz single core Snapdragon processor here. So it is spec-wise a little bit lower than its older siblings, or I should say they're not really older. They were all announced at the same time. They're all like twins, but really different twins. I don't know really how that would work, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. Loading up now, and talk a little bit more about battery life as well. 1,500 milliamp hour battery. When I consider moderate usage, I consider downloading apps, making phone calls, sending text messages, doing things like that. Now, when I get into heavy use, used it for more than one or 2, 3 short calls, using it for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I always put phones to the test with long calls, and I did notice, like I said, it made it till about 8 or 9 before it required a recharge. Obviously, your usage patterns will vary, but one thing I will give HTC credit for, they've done a good job in their most recent devices of preserving the battery when it comes to standby time. I've been really impressed with the standby times on this device. Unfortunately, the battery's non-removable, so once it does die, it's dead, unless you have a car charger or something else around. So if you're a road warrior, somebody that uses your battery quite a bit, I'd highly recommend a couple of spare chargers, one at the office, and then of course a car charger just to be on the safe side. 2034 here in quadrant standard, 2034 according to this. Not the worst in the world, still not the best in comparison to some of the other high-end devices, but again, keep in mind the price point here, $129.99 as opposed to $199.99. Still, on US Cellular, a better alternative for you if you're looking for just raw speed and you're okay with being maybe a generation behind in terms of design. The Galaxy S2 is right around the same price point, just a little bit more expensive last time I checked. And it's something that's very comparable and better actually in terms of processor performance. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Now that we're on Wi-Fi, I'm going to load up phonedog.com again to continue from part one so you can see kind of what the browser looks like. Pinch to zoom, all those typical browser tasks have been mostly responsive. I've had little to no lag, no issues to report there, and we'll load this one up and take a look. Our fancy new home page. You can see pinch to zoom, relatively responsive there with little to no lag. Again, transition effects are nice and fast, and then when you want a new page, all you have to do is scroll up here and go to tabs, and I can do a new tab from there. Pretty quick and pretty easy. So all in all, this is a decent smartphone, $129.99. I'll show you the Play Store as well, because I wanted to show you. Wait for it to load up, and it's taking its sweet time. Quadrant here. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. And right now it's apps, music, books, and movies, all separated by color. Your magazines is going to show up in the next couple of weeks as well. It's purple, and it shows up in between music and books, if I recall. And then you've got some games over here. Also, all categorized pretty well. I can go into apps and see, of course, it changes to the color, and you can kind of see what it looks like here in terms of downloads, screenshots, and more. So all in all, relatively decent handset here, $129.99. You really can't go wrong with the price point of this device. That said, Galaxy S2, better processor. It's got that Exynos processor on US Cellular. Very much resembles the Epic 4G Touch with a 4.5-inch display. If you're looking for a little bit faster processor, sheer speed is what matters to you, that might be the better device to go with. If you're looking for aesthetics and design, this is a killer device in terms of aesthetic. Absolutely beautiful, easy to fit in the hand, very pocketable despite having a little chin. And then it's got a micro SD card slot down here at the bottom underneath this, and Beats audio integration as well. All in all, a pretty decent device, and given the price point, I don't think you can go wrong. Much more coverage to come on phonedog.com with the HTC One V. Keep it locked on the site for continuing coverage. Be sure to like us on Facebook, facebook.com/phonedog. Hit us up as well with PhoneDog's official smartphone rankings. Be a part of the conversation. Let your voice be heard. phonedog.com/rankings. Be sure to follow me on Twitter as well. Let me know what you think of this device. Maybe you're going with the S3, maybe you're going with the S2, or perhaps you're going with the One V. Let me know. PhoneDog_Aaron on Twitter and on Facebook at facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more coverage, dogfights, and more with the HTC One V. We'll see you next time.